Hey everybody, Michelle here from Unbridled Change, and I was just walking back down from feeding up the top of the barn. It's where I do most of my meditation and everything else, and I was really thinking about the newsletter that I just finished that's going out this week. And I talked about that this is in the traditional Chinese zodiac, that this is the year of the snake, specifically the yin wood snake, and in the Chinese 5-element system. And the snake has a very interesting energy to it. It's all about transformation, change, about shedding what once served us, which once was the way in which we could work through the world and the way that we saw the world and what kept us safe, because the skin of the snake keeps it safe. It allows it to be in different places, but it also picks up parasites and wounds and other things like that. And every once in a while they shed them so that they can, one, literally grow and keep on living, but also so that they can let go of that which is no longer serving. And the really interesting thing, if you bring it over into traditional Western astrology, the snake is associated with the journey of transformation that happens with Scorpio. And so Scorpio, I have so many different things in my backpack. I love to meld things together and see how they intertwine. And this year is really interesting because the year of the snake is about transformation. In numerology, it's a 9-year, and so that means it's also about beginnings and endings, same thing. And the journey of Scorpio is to transform itself from scorpion to snake to eagle and then to phoenix. And so I thought I would hop over and do a video because it got really long at what I was doing in the newsletter and be like, hey, let me share with you the journey of Scorpio to snake, so you can see the energy that we're at this year, and then over into eagle, and then up into Phoenix. Side note, not too many of us get to Phoenix too often, but hey, it's always worth having a stretch goal, right? So the journey of Scorpio is usually told through a metaphor of a story about a frog, a scorpion, and how it began to change. So little scorpion was sitting on one side of the river, and he wanted to get to the other side, but he couldn't figure out how to get over to the other side without drowning. And he looked around and he saw Frog. Frog had the ability to swim across and to hop across the river. And Scorpion moved over to Frog and said, hey, Frog, can you give me a ride across the river? I'd be so grateful to you if you could. Frog looked at Scorpio and said, ugh. No, I don't think so. You're kind of like scary. You're a little bit not my cup of tea, and no. So he insulted Scorpio. Scorpio at first got mad and was like, oh, how rude. I was trying to be nice. I was being grateful. And so he kind of goes away for a little bit. Then he turns around and he comes back and he says, hey, Frog, I know I wasn't very nice, but on the other side of the river is this beautiful gift that we can both get to, and I'll share it with you if you're willing to take me over. I know I'm not like the prettiest to look at, and I know that I don't have a lot to offer, and I can be a little scary, but can you help me out? Frog thinks about it and is like, yeah, sure, I want what's on the other side of the river. So the frog says, sure, hop on my back and let's go. The scorpion then is getting what he wants. He's riding over to the other side of the river. Halfway through the river, though, the Scorpio remembers, like, oh, he insulted me. He was really rude. That makes me so mad. And he stings Frog. And Frog goes, why did you do that? Now we're both going to die. And he said, because you were not nice to me. And there goes Scorpion and Frog down to the bottom of the river. The next lifetime, Scorpion comes back as a snake. And in this lifetime, Scorpion has the ability to make more choices, to choose what and when and where, but he's still pretty reactive. So when we're in that molting time, snake actually loses its ability to see. Everything kind of gets cloudy, the skin starts to separate, and the availability to be able to see what's happening goes away. And so Scorpio has to find a haven, a safe place. Otherwise, snake is very reactive, right? And so in that place, if we're covered up with our trauma goggles and we can't see and we can't work with, we still will strike out without knowing why or how. And so that's the journey of snake, is to be like, hey, can I go from striking out, and can I notice when I'm in a trauma response and withdraw? Put myself in a quote safe place for myself and for others, and kind of lean in. And what snake has to do during that time frame of molting is like push against the barrier, the way they went through the world, the way they saw the world, and they have to start to break free from that. And so snake learns to break free, to shed the skin of reactivity, to shed the skin of the trauma goggles, and to open up to a new way. And in that, the snake is able to allow itself to transcend to the next level of consciousness, learning not to strike just because it gets scared, learning not to strike just because it's lost in trauma goggles, and instead seeking some clarity. When it does that, snake unlocks eagle. And when eagle is there, eagle is able to come forward and look with that bird's eye and be able to see what it wants to look at. It can also zoom in. So now eagle has the ability to make more choice, more availability to get above the fray, and not to always have to be in a state of reactivity or fear or withdrawal. So it sheds the reactivity and the responsiveness and the emotional body having control of us in the Scorpio version. It sheds the way of having trauma responses from our old ways of being, cutting us off from being able to feel safe and secure, and starts to allow that to come within us. So that's what we're really up to within this year with this new beginning and snake energy mixing with 9 energy, is we're starting to really being asked to look at, where do we have trauma goggles on? Where do we have reactivities that we kind of strike or bite and come out hot? And how do we start to soften that? And how do we make a different choice? I have a bunch of resources available right now. One is Breaking Free of Trauma Responses. It's a 2-part series, and my podcast, Soulful Practices podcast. And I also have it over in the membership side, which is Connecting with Joy, where the members in there are working through the 5th principle of Reiki this month. For all of today, I will be kind to all beings. Definitely got to go from Scorpio to snake to eagle. And some of you might be wondering, what is Phoenix? Phoenix allows us to say that we're going to choose the choice that is for the highest good and benefit for all. So eagle is still also kind of looking for the choices that are going to work best for eagle. When we get to Phoenix, again, we kind of maybe visit this place, but we don't always get to hang out there, but it's a goal, something to have an intention to reach for, is we're able to make those choices that say, hey, I'm willing to let go of what is in what I personally want. Some part of me is really upset or angry. Some part of me really does want this thing. And yet I know that that's not the choice that's going to bring balance to myself and to others. And so let me release. Let me let go of that. Let me bring beautiful fire energy in to help me transform, transmute, and release the weight of whatever that choice is and my attachment to that choice, so that I can allow myself to spread my wings, come out of those ashes, and be a part of the highest good and benefit for all. So Phoenix energy is really about allowing ourselves to transform and release ourselves from tribal responses, survival responses, trauma adaptation responses, personal level just preferences, wants, and wishes, and really leaning into the guidance that's going to bring us into the highest good and benefit of all. So that's Phoenix. Ideally, that's what we're all working for in this beautiful transformation. And so this year, as you kind of feel into it, we've already had a month, which kind of felt like a year within a month for me. I don't know how it felt for you, but really allowing ourselves to say, hey, this year we have an opportunity to ride the waves of the cosmic energy that is present for us, to be on beautiful hawk just flew by, hawk energy, to be on that wavelength of saying, what does serve me? And do I want to unlock who I truly am? Do I want to be bound up from fear of I need to coil up and defend myself? Do I want to become a haven for other people and for myself? And if so, let me start doing that. So we have a bunch of resources here at Unbridled Change that can really help you with that. Feel free to check that out. You can check out my website under free resources, and then you can see what else is there. I have a bunch of new resources coming out this year. I'm super excited. One of them is a book and an oracle deck, and you'll hear more about that in the coming weeks, actually. And yeah, embrace that snake energy, allow yourself to transform, and also be kind with yourself, because there is that moment where we are blinded by our trauma. There is a moment where we strike out and we go, oh, why did I do that? And when that happens, not if, but when, be kind to yourself, be compassionate with another person, and allow yourself to come back to center and say, I know that's not who I am. I know that's not who they are. How can I find a little bit of eagle, find a little bit of phoenix, and allow myself to get a different perspective, to be in that curiosity, to find a way to help ourselves make the choice that is going to bring us all into greater harmony, balance, love, compassion, joy, for each and every one of us. Offering light, love, and joy, Michelle.